cancer. Cancer's such a bitch. We can't stomach cancer. It's getting on our tits. Cancer, cancer, cancer. Oh, cancer's such a bitch. Oh, we can't stomach cancer. It's getting on our tits. With Fez and Liv.
Today's attempt of navigating this shitstorm sees us talking about chemotherapy.
There is literally no way to talk about this without it sounding horrific, because it is horrific. It's not fun.
Yeah, it's not the best, is it? But it's what's keeping us here.
Yeah.
So we got to be grateful, humble and grateful for
And I'm going to
Verity.
start by saying that no matter what treatment you have for cancer, be it chemo, surgery, immunotherapy, radiation, whatever, they're all valid. Just having one, having three, like no matter what, shouldn't invalidate your experience and the severity of having cancer. Just a disclaimer,
No.
because it's all crap. So we're all in the same crap boat
shit.
here.
We're on the same shitstorm.
Shitstorm. There. Oh my God, we're in the same boat, in the same shitstorm. It's a bit of a tongue twister, that.
Storm.
Let's not waste time.
Thank you. I'm so proud of myself. Okay, so Verity's gonna describe chemotherapy for us and explain a little bit more, because if I try reading information, I'm gonna sound like a foreign
News anchor.
priest or
A
something.
priest. Excellent. Okay, so describing chemo, we've already done so. We've said it's crap and it's horrific, but let's define it. So chemotherapy.
Official.
Official. I've become you now. You've put me off by saying you would be shit reading it, and now I've got the pressure of having to read it well. It's fine. Here we go. Chemotherapy is a concoction of drugs specific to each cancer with the intent of curing you, or sometimes it's used to prolong life and reduce symptoms. I don't know why I'm reading this as if it's something off a website, because I literally wrote these notes, so we'll go with it. So I have incurable cancer. Whenever I have intravenous treatment, it's with the intent of keeping the disease at bay for as long as possible, because we're past the point of getting it gone forever. But that doesn't mean it won't be the same for everyone else who ever has chemo. Like, the intent is always to cure you first. And these drugs basically destroy fast-growing cells, and that's what cancer cells are. And this is why your hair falls out, and why you get ulcers, because your mouth cells divide quickly too. And if there is a silver lining, actually, because chemo can clear up your skin, as skin and like acne is fast growing. So I always have great skin, albeit dry and tired, but it's always good. So there is a silver lining there.
Every cloud has a silver lining.
You've got to celebrate the small wins, haven't you? So that's just chemo in a nutshell. It's just drugs making your body do weird shit it wouldn't normally do. But yeah, so as a result of these drugs and chemo, you do get a low immune system. I think that's the main thing that, aside from all the other side effects, a low immune system is the most problematic. Like, I can go outside with a bald head and be fine. If I go outside with a low immune system, I might get an infection and die. So there's different levels of these side effects. And with a low immune system, so for me, I reacted to it, like, just kept reacting to the toxicity of the drugs. So they had to like lower the dose, and it just knocked me for 6 the first time I had it. I had like 0.02 of an immune system at one point. Like, my white blood cells, my neutrophils were so far down that I was hospitalized for like a week with neutropenic sepsis, because that's when basically like with a weakened immune system, you then get an infection and you can't fight it off without medical attention, basically. That was a fun week. I was living off ice creams, and because I was so worn down, I got tonsillitis. That's crazy.
I never had anything like that.
It's crap. So that's not fun.
So I think that's like the worst thing that can happen, isn't it, if you do get an infection whilst you're neutropenic?
Yeah, so you're not neutropenic. Everyone seems to think that you've got your immune system basically fluctuates. So you'll have chemo and it'll go right down, and then you'll pick up slightly, have the next one, it'll go down. It's a steady decline. So your immune system will never go back each cycle to like where it was before, but it will pop back up. I tended to be neutropenic neutropenic the first like 5 days after having chemo. So when you go in for your checkup and your blood test, it will show that I had really like a really low count, and then they say, okay, so you just got to be careful now. So I wouldn't go into like crowded spaces. I was also on like there's a neutropenic diet because obviously even foodborne like illnesses and that bacteria can cause a reaction within your body.
Yeah, you have to be very careful.
Yeah, so like shit, like you can't have baked potatoes because of like the outside of them. You have to always peel it. I lived off coffee. That was the only when my taste was horrible. I literally lived off coffee, and they were like, you can't get a coffee with like ice, or you can't just go and have ice with a drink. You can't have coffee in general because you can't be sure that the milk machine has been wiped down properly. So like it really became like a what can I and can I not eat, especially when all you want to do is eat because of this like steroids and everything. So low immune system is just not fun, and that coupled with how you feel on chemo just isn't great. And like all about feeling crap, so, like surrounded by people, not fun.
Yeah. So what Verity is describing is obviously a very serious and more advanced
That's
thing.
based on like the toxic drugs.
I never had that personally. My bloods were fine in between every chemo, luckily. But I worked very hard in between to restore my blood by drinking disgusting juices that I used to do and stuff like that.
You really went in.
Don't want to sound like a Karen.
With the spinach and kale smoothie. Oh,
spinach
juices.
and kale and carrots and
live
beetroot.
the juicer. Oh.
But my blood was always good, so don't know whether it was that or was it.
Well, maybe I should take a leaf out of your book because
I
I was just anemic. Like the whole time. I'd walk up the road and be like...
I used to be anemic before cancer.
And they were like, you might need a blood transfusion at some point. I've never had a blood transfusion though, have you?
I never had
Looks
one,
terrifying.
no.
Like this bag of blood. I don't know why I always end
Please
up referring
donate
to
blood.
Twilight here. But here we go again with the vampires. I just feel like a weird vampire if I was having that.
So you didn't need a blood transfusion?
No,
yeah,
never.
but that's an option if
Yeah,
it's
if
needed,
it is
if you're
low,
very
yeah.
neutropenic.
But yeah, so that was
Okay.
that's like the medical side of things. Here's the feelings once again with how you feel.
So with chemo, as well comes the roids, which is, as we know, Liv's favourite thing to talk about.
Puffy Liv. Oh, sorry, that's so rude.
Puffy
but
Liv.
it is. You get moon face with
I'm
steroids.
so puffy, I cannot wait to be off these steroids. I'm grateful for them, but they can fuck off because my face is so puffy.
So crap.
And I'm always hungry from them. So the steroids act as your own body's hormones. I'm reading a description Verity wrote
Oh,
for
here
me,
we go.
so I do
They're
apologise
notes,
if I sound a bit scripted. And help with nausea and vomiting to help prevent allergic reactions to drugs. Yes. So I was on a very, very high dose of steroids when I was on chemo.
I love that. Can we just go back to you being like, yes, that is true. Just confirming what I wrote.
She's not lying. I was on a very high dose of steroids when I was on chemo. And like Verity has said in the notes here, for some drugs, a nurse has to linger around, smelling bad, linger around
Linger
for 10
around like a
minutes to make
fart.
sure shit doesn't hit the fan.
It does. So
And
you have like there
also-
are drugs where you've had that, haven't you? Where they just
Yeah.
stand there and they're waiting for
They
something to
stand there
happen.
and watch you. They're like, "Are you feeling fine? Are you feeling fine?" Because within the first 15 minutes of it being infused, you can get a allergic reaction and basically just go into anaphylactic shock.
Or as I wrote in
So
the
that's
notes,
so
shit could hit the
professional.
fan. And yeah, that was very professionally
could hit the fan.
spoken. So yeah, there are weird
Um,
things with the drugs where they're you just like they wear an apron, they wear their gloves, and you're like, that's going in my body. What? Because they're so scared of getting it on their skin.
What?
And then when they make it worse by standing there, and if you don't get on with them, it's really awkward because you just like nurses are great anyway, but there are some you can just have more
They
banter
are.
with, and they just stand there, and you're like, so, and it really becomes a small talk conversation of like, seen anything good lately? How was your day?
How many chemos did you do today?
What's the weather like? I have not been outside for a week. Lol.
Yeah. Also, Verity says,
God, it's like Verity says instead of Simon
steroids
says.
can treat the cancer itself. I didn't know that.
No, I read that.
Unfortunately,
Weird. But yeah, they can be used because it's like obviously mimicking your own body's responses. That's like the steroids help keep it at bay, but also I guess, yeah, it helps fight it off along with the chemo.
they can give you a very bad mood and alter your weight,
Oh,
which
we know that, don't we, Liv? live at her with our bad moods.
The water retention is bad, and the hunger is bad, and personally I don't feel full ever.
No, I'm thinking about my next meal.
I've come to a very sad place where every time I eat food, I write it down on my notes. So when I go, I'm hungry again, and I go, I want a snack again, I look at the list and I go, no list.
You've eaten enough.
Plenty of food today.
And we said, didn't we?
I'm having to dose food for myself for the day,
God.
so I don't overeat.
We said this,
Crazy.
that should be on your plaque. Instead of live, laugh, love, you should just have, you've eaten enough food, girl. But you know,
I'm gonna literally make it.
You did. You came back
now.
to the sad realization
use.
that you just eat too much. But then I do. Like, I think pudding is the most beautiful part of any meal, because you can eat a full fat dinner and then be like, I'm still hungry. What can I eat next? And then you have a small bit of pudding.
They talk about the dessert stomach, don't they? They're like, I've got space in my dessert.
That is so true. My eyes are bigger than my
Verity.
stomach, but I do have a dessert dessert hole space, specially resigned for eating mess.
Verity.
Hello.
Sugar feeds.
Oh, you were trying to slip that in the whole way of me thinking, like, just, you know, imagining food, salivating over the prospect of pudding.
You're such a bad influence, because I've been so good at not eating sugar since this brain tumor diagnosis. And then you came over and I was like, well, she's eating sugar, so I might as well.
Yeah, but I'm stages ahead of you in my, you still have the potential of getting rid of this. I think I'm a lost cause. That sounds really bad, doesn't it?
You're not.
I'm not a lost
Nothing's
cause.
a lost cause.
I'm convinced it's going to keep going away, but it's never going to go away forever. And at some point, you've kind of got to have that reality of like, let's just keep it away as long as possible.
It's balancing everything,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's balancing it. Whereas what I didn't eat sugar for a week. Then Verity came over and I was like, oh my God, give me all the chocolate.
Balance is not eating sugar for a month and then going, all that sugar I haven't eaten, I kind of feel like a packet of sweets now, and demolishing 2 massive share bags of Star Mix in 2 evenings. That is balance. Oh God.
A balanced diet is a cake in each hand. There you go.
That's love. I'm going to live by that. But no, so you just feel...
So,
you feel
feelings
food.
on chemo.
Feelings on chemo. You're really reading from these notes, aren't you? The first time I go, maybe we should have a brief, you know, so we can chronologically go through things. And Liv is living
And
to
breathe.
that. But no, you're right.
So you're diagnosed with cancer. You're told you're going to have chemo. And then first step is you go in for the prep work, which in my case was a PICC line. In Verity's Verity's cancer journey 1.0 was not a PICC line, which we already discussed with Verity. We'll let you into a little secret. We've tried recording this podcast 3 times now. So we've discussed the same shit over and over again, and that's why I'm just like, let's just talk about it again and let's just try and make this actually fucking work.
I know, it's a nightmare.
I'm sick of it.
I think that
I'm the chief
this is the problem, isn't it?
Chief editor here. Chief editor, right? And I'm just shit. I'm sick of listening to it over and over again.
When we first got the theme tune,
by the time the podcast go live, I'm like,
that's the problem.
I don't
though.
want to hear
when
it
we
anymore.
first listened to the theme tune, the little jingle at the beginning, cancer, cancer, we were like, yeah, cancer is getting on its tits, woo. And I mean, trying to record
every time I close my eyes, that song's playing on.
It haunts my dreams. It's so good. We love it. Shout out to Ian, and Guy. But I mean, at what point is
It's
enough
too
enough?
catchy.
It is too catchy.
It's just too
Swimming around my
catchy.
brain.
We can't stomach it. It's too catchy.
What a pun. But no, so we have tried to record this one 3 times. That's just a testament to our chemo brain, though. Like, coming at you with the real facts of it's quite hard navigating your own thoughts when you're in just like a cloud of fog, nothingness, being really, really tired. So we've persisted, and here we are. And what can we talk about now from our list of notes, Liv?
So the first, I think, just start from the start. So when you get diagnosed and you're told you're going to be having chemo, obviously then you've got to, depending on what regime you're on.
Regimen.
Question number 1 about my English regime.
Take a shot.
They will offer you whether you want a PICC line or not. And myself and Vez, coming at you. What am I doing?
Every time.
My steroid dose, my steroid dose has been increased, so I'm very flying high today. I'm not high, but
As a kite.
Both myself and Vez strongly recommend having a PICC line because we both found that it does make things much, much easier, quicker, less proddy.
Yeah, it's just about making the experience, like an uncomfortable experience, just that slightly bit more bearable. With PICC lines, I didn't actually, for my first time, I didn't find out about them until like cycle 3. So, because by that point I was in so infrequently, it was once every 3 weeks. And I thought 9 hours was long. Lol, it wasn't. I've been in for like a week and a bit and it's been horrible. But at that time, when you're not going in as much, it became a bit more of a ball ache to then have to go into hospital every week to get it cleaned. And then it does make it easier for blood tests. But I only got one the first time around because my veins swelled up to the size of mountains. Well, molehills. I can make a mountain out of a molehill. And I've said that joke 3 times because we've recorded this 3 times and I'm getting it in there.
It's still as funny
Still
as the
good.
first time I
Thank
heard
you.
it, even though I don't get English humour.
You're so honest. But no, so because
I'm very honest.
because of my vein problem and the amount of chemo going through it and like the length of time, I then decided to get a PICC line halfway through, and it made things so much easier because you don't have to then have a separate blood draw until it stops working. So the second time round, after my relapse for the chemo, then I got a PICC line straight away. They put the wrong one in. So I don't know where that stands on consenting for procedures, but they put the wrong one in, and then I had to get it changed, and then I still wanted it in my left arm because obviously I didn't want my right arm, which I use, 'cause I'm right-handed, to be impaired slightly. So they put it back in, the same arm, just higher up, and obviously that's all like a procedure in itself, isn't it? With the like, it's a little mini surgery.
So I think it goes in your artery, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then they follow it
Is
up
that right?
to your heart using a little
and it
beep
goes
machine.
up, and then it dangles above your heart.
We're just touching
and
our chests
you just-
right now. But yeah, no, you have
That's
you have
it.
something on your chest, and it's a massive. I nearly swore, but it's fine because it's explicit. Fucking massive needle is what it was.
I don't remember much about
I
that
videoed
because when
it.
I went in and I was like, oh, I'm just having a cannula inserted, I guess. And then they're like, so the procedure's about an hour long, and I was like,
with
what?
local anaesthetic,
They're like, we're gonna use local anaesthetic.
stings.
I was like, what?
Stingy.
To be fair, I didn't feel anything. It was a bit scary, won't lie,
No.
but it's worth it in the end.
It's worth it. Yeah.
For me, I had chemo every 2 weeks and then every week
Yeah.
for 6 months, and because I was going into hospital every week anyway, the cleaning and everything like that was fine.
Yeah.
The blood test was fine, and it just made things much easier. And obviously, it doesn't damage your veins as bad,
No.
and you don't
And
don't have to be prodded every
Well,
week.
for some chemos, you
so
do
just
need
speak
it.
to your surgeon. So just speak to your oncologist. Sorry, not your surgeon. I'm in a different world at the moment.
You're just thinking about brain surgery, and you've just got surgery on the brain. That was almost like a palindrome. I just said every
Funny.
word backwards. Lol.
Yeah, so just speak to your oncologist and see what they recommend. But if you do get PICC line and you are allergic to plaster,
Oh, here we go. This is the
get
life
the
hack.
pink dressing. Pink dressing.
Change your. It literally
Pink
will change your
dressing
life.
Is the shit.
So good.
It's so it doesn't rip your skin. It doesn't cause allergic.
They don't have to
reactions.
like
Personally,
play
I've
with
never-
the line either. Like with the white one, it's so fiddly. You have to like pull it round. It's like a maze
Yeah.
because you've got like 2 separate patches that they have to put it through. So the pink one, just slap it on, neatly pull it off. It's like little what's it? It's like when you get parcels and they've got like those glue dots and you can like rub them up.
Yeah.
It's like that sort of
It's a
glue,
bit like that, isn't
really
it?
jelly and nice. That's a life hack. If you're sensitive or you just don't want pain, ask for the pink patch because it will make everything so much easier.
Yeah, and then dressings for your PICC line.
Oh, get a cute one,
So
yeah. Don't use the hospital one
Don't
that
be
frays.
live and be cheap and wear the scabby hospital
Buy the
ones and
£3
have threads coming
armband.
off them.
You can buy them on level 4 of BRI. They're really good though. I liked it. It didn't go with any of my outfits because I got like a navy blue with like bright yellow and green flowers. But it was cute,
Yeah.
and it meant I didn't have the horrible frayed one. Although because I was wearing it every day, it definitely didn't get washed. It did start smelling at some point. And then the nurses were so freaked out. They were like, you do need to wash it, you know? And I was like, yeah. But I, unlike you, who like dangling their PICC line around for everyone to see, I didn't like seeing it. It made me feel so ill. Because that's another thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
With like side effects. You do get weird PTSD things from senses. Like from like smells, what you taste. what you see. Like we had both had the Red Devil, which was doxorubicin. No, horrible. Which is orange, and it makes your pee orange. Everything in your life is just orange and horrible. And I had a tonic. Tonic? What am I on about? Yeah, it was. It's called tonic. Yeah. The toners.
Face tonic.
Yeah, glow tonic. Yeah, toner. I thought I just went to gin. That's where I want to be right now. I want to be on the sofa drunk. But I'm here recording a podcast for the third time. But I had a toner that was orange and I couldn't use it. So it's like you do get weird PTSD things. So only time I looked down, I hated the sight of it, and you were just dangling all over the place. Like a willy that's free.
Yeah, I was just like, look at me, I have cancer, I've got a pick line, I'm so cool.
Takes the free willy.
And then the only other thing is, in the shower, you're not allowed to make it wet.
No, so get an armband. Don't cling film yourself.
No, so for the first 3 weeks,
God,
before every shower, it had to be, Liam, can you come please and cling film my arm and then sellotape it so I don't get it wet.
Literally.
Don't do that.
Everyone's been there.
Your hospital or on Amazon, you can buy arm cover, waterproof arm cover thing.
You just need it.
And you just slap it on. I found it the other day and I was like, oh, don't want to look
cut
at that,
into
but I'm gonna keep it just
my
in
arms
case.
puffed up so much from steroids that when I first bought it, it just neatly sat there, and by the end, like was bringing my arm in by like a whole inch, and it was like flapping over it.
Trying to pull it on.
Oh
I
God,
completely get that.
Lol.
So yeah, with that's the main tip at the start of chemo from us. I think with a PICC line is definitely I recommend.
Yeah.
Something Verity's already touched on is the chemo side effects, obviously, and the fact that obviously it kills fast-growing cells, which includes your hair. And this is a big part of going through chemo is you losing your hair. Now, you can opt for something called cold capping, which is a cold cap.
Literally
that
what
goes
it
on,
is,
basically. Yeah, and it like freezes your hair follicles. I think you do it like I don't know for how long before your chemo on the day. I don't know very much about it because personally it wasn't recommended for me. They're like, it's just going to make everything more painful, everything longer, everything like more faffing around, they said, and it's not that effective.
I think,
so
well, that's
I
the
was
thing.
Like, I don't care about losing my hair.
My consultant said to me when I obviously asked about it, because at the very beginning I was like, oh my God, I don't want to lose my hair, because you don't want to immediately have to then fit the cancer stereotype mold, which is just bold, puffy, really tired, and like your skin goes a weird like alabaster color. I don't know why. You don't look pale and porcelain. You just look sickly white. So it's weird. So I didn't want to fit that stereotype straight away. So I did ask about the cold cap, not really intending to do it because, like you said, it's just prolonging discomfort. But he just said, if your hair's gonna fall out, it's gonna fall out, and you might save a few strands and then you'd have to shave it anyway.
But that's almost more traumatic, isn't it?
Yeah, like you seize the control where you can. You have very limited control over a cancer diagnosis when it becomes medical stuff and everything like that. You are following a routine someone's put in place for you. So with your hair, that's the one thing that you can control and be like, I'm seizing it back a bit. And it is liberating. As much as you might hate it.
Isn't it? For some people, it's very traumatizing. For some people, it's very difficult to cope with. And for me, I know that months after I've been bold, I've been like fine about it. But there were days where I looked in the mirror and I just went, I looked at old photos of me and I went, I look nothing like myself right now. And it's ridiculous. And my face is puffy and I'm all puffy and tired and my skin is sore and I'm all sore and I'm all tired. And you just sit in front of the mirror and you cry.
Yeah.
And that does happen. But when I did first start losing my hair, the best thing I did is honestly, they say 14 days after your first chemo,
it will fall out.
Your hair will start falling out.
It's like clockwork.
Jinx.
That is how much we know. That's how much you have it drilled in your head.
3 times, have we?
No. Clearly we haven't.
We just jinxed.
But no, yeah, you're right. It does. It just falls out and it's uncomfortable because it all just falls in knots if you don't shave it. And it hurts. Like when it gets trapped, it does hurt because it doesn't. People think it just falls to the floor and cascades, and it's like a melancholic tune playing as it just falls to the floor. It really isn't. It mats on your pillow, it mats in your own hair. And
Yeah.
I mean,
So for me, I was literally day 14. It was my round 2 of my chemo.
Yeah.
Round 2.
Boxing
and I got
match.
home and obviously I was really, really unwell and really sick. And the hair falling out and like tangling around my neck made me feel more nauseous. So I remember I was like, okay, it's falling out. We got to get rid of it. So we shaved it off completely. And I was really scared that I'll be very emotional and a wreck. But it was such a relief when I shaved it off. And when I realised I got a good shaped head, I was like,
yeah, you went dropped on your
love
head
it.
as a baby, were you? I have a perfectly good head as well. Everyone commented on that.
You look so good. I mean, I look good, but you look great,
Just
bold.
gonna
You suit
Vogue.
it really well.
I'm bold. I thought you meant short hair. Sorry, I got a bit ahead of myself. I'm not bold right now. As you can see, I have at least 2 inches when I pull it up. Oh, that might be 3 inches. That's a small penis on the top of my head.
That's an average penis, isn't it?
3 inches? I bloody hope not. Who are those average women suffering that? That's off topic, but we have to.
I don't know.
We have to move on from dick head talk.
Oh dear.
But
Oh dear.
going back to side effects, hair is a big one, and people do tend to go straight to hair falling off your head, when really it's your eyebrow hair you should worry about, because people don't realize how much eyebrows really impact your face structure.
Yeah.
It breaks up your face, and also you need your eyebrows because when you sweat, where does your sweat go? So I was like a constant, and your nose hair falls out. So I was a constant mess of going on walks, sweating because of the menopause. Lol, shout out to that. And I would be sweating, it would go in my eye, and then my nose would be running. And because you don't have nose hair, it's not like it's like a bogey, snotty mess. It's just clear fluid that just trails out. And it's so not viscous at all that it just floods your face. So like Luke would look over me at dinner and he'd be like, your nose is running. And I'd be eating a chip like, well, I didn't know that. And now I have to wipe my nose. And I just wanted to eat this chip. Yeah. But like, otherwise, everything else is great. Like, it's a free body wax.
So I agree about the eyebrow thing. The best thing I did before I started chemo was to get my eyebrows not microbladed. It was like a shadow thing. It's called eyebrow shadow
Okay.
something. I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
It's like essentially it's like a tattoo, but it's like micro needle, not like strokes like microblading is. So then when my hair fell out, most of the time I had quite a lot of hairs left. So it was really good because it does frame your hair, like face more. And I mean, I was a bloody egg from the steroids, but you know, it's just what it is. It did definitely really help. And on days when you don't feel like doing your makeup and stuff like that, it does really help having the eyebrows there. Then fake eyelashes to glue on when you're feeling better as well. That's a big one for the girls. But hair loss
actually
overall,
just learning how to do eyeliner. Learning how to do eyeliner for me instead of fake lashes.
Yeah, that does make it seem more like you have eyelashes when you put eyeliner on. I agree with that. That's a good trick.
Good trick, yeah.
That's a good tip as well. But yeah, hair loss obviously is a big part of it, but you just gotta embrace it and own it, and I think that will help you more. And it's a big part of who you are especially I think for girls and boys. But for me, the worst thing was months into treatment, looking back at photos of me with hair and thinking, oh, I look so good with hair and, you know, so much better, and just feeling really sad about it. And that happens. Just let those emotions come in and kind of deal with them as and when. But as soon as I would definitely recommend, as soon as it starts falling out, shave it off. If you can, when you shave it, it will still be patchy and
you've got a tip for this.
What's the word I'm looking for, Vez? Patchy
stubbly.
And like stubbly. So what you can do is actually use something called a foiler, which is what bold blokes use this to when when they have a bit of like a stubble, you go over it with a foiler and it just gets rid of all the fuzz.
Stubble.
Frizz fuzz. I think you can do that at the hairdressers as well, but obviously currently.
Yeah. You did that. I just plucked mine out like I was a baby bird, because
Chicken.
it does, like, once you get to a point where it's not pulling and it is falling out, you can just pull it out, and it's weird because you do this and it's like, oh, that's not going to pull out. So when you do, I would recommend actually doing that, even though it can be like you said, traumatizing and horrible and not an enjoyable experience at all. Just pull a bit out and you'll feel the satisfaction. I don't know why I'm doing it as if my hair's going to pull out.
No, don't do that.
But no, so there's two things. You will end up looking a bit patchy and stubbly if you don't make sure it's like actually out the follicle. So
But that will go
otherwise
up
it's
a
very
while.
it's hassle-free showers, because you just get in, there's no hair to wash, it's just kind of like quick body wash, step out again.
Yeah.
It's cool. Quickest morning showers ever.
Oh, it's so good. And obviously every cloud, you don't have to shave anymore. No hair, nowhere.
No, it's amazing.
It's so good.
When my hair grew back, though, that is a different thing entirely.
Oh.
My hair grew back silver. I thought
My
I was
hair
going
grew back
grey.
so thick. I was like, oh, I don't want to start shaving. Ugh.
Yeah, my leg hair has settled down a bit now, though.
Mine has a
But,
little bit.
yeah,
I'm
that's
just glad I've
exciting.
got this
It's all
mop
worth
on my
it.
head that's really thick and beautiful and luscious, and it's out of control at the moment. But
that's the thing, isn't it? You know that when your hair goes, it's going to come back and it's going to be great feeling. So just look forward. Just set yourself, because it can feel a bit like you're just in a mix of like a weird routine and you're not used to it, and you just feel like you're kind of like ebbing and flowing and just having to just chunter along. So just set yourself that thing, a reminder at the end that your hair will grow back, and then that's something to look forward to, because I think it's very important to break up this horrible thing and horrible journey by having little things to look forward to.
Wigs though.
Yeah, I didn't get on with one. It was a bit itchy, but the Princess Trust are good. Yeah. Very good.
People love some people love wigs. I didn't get on with mine. I got mine from the Princess Trust. Yeah, they gave me a free one.
They're really, really good though.
A real hair free one, but I just didn't get on with it. It matched my natural hair color perfectly, but it just really made my scalp itch, and I just don't like the way it looks. So that's definitely something you can look into, and if that's what you get on with. But what I got on with as well, really well, is head wraps and just having fun with that. Looking YouTube videos.
You loved your scarves.
Yeah, I did. And just wearing a little band or whatnot, that dresses your bald head up a bit, puts a bit of shape to your face. So that's another thing I would definitely recommend. To do with hair loss.
I didn't do that.
No. Yeah, but you just look so
didn't do
good.
that.
Bald it's like you just embraced it.
I wasn't gonna actually boost my ego there. I was gonna say the reason I didn't was because I massaged my head with nice smelling body yogurt. I think it was called. It was like the Body Shop body yogurt mango.
Yeah.
Oh, literally, I had people sniffing my head. That was my slogan, really. If I had a slogan, like a tagline for my chemo, it is literally like sniff my head, sniff it. Sniff it good. Smelled amazing.
I can't say that I did moisturize my head quite a bit, I suppose.
It would go really dry otherwise. I do. To be fair, your hair does try to grow back through chemo, and that's when it hurts, because it's like spiky little bits in your head. So I would every few days I would have to give it a shave, and then I'd just be like, I got to moisturize it now.
What I would recommend as well, once your hair does start growing back, document it. Take pictures every couple of weeks. I did that, and it was really fun.
Yeah,
because you don't notice how fast it's growing. Well, you do to start with, but when you take the photos, when you finish chemo, you start seeing how your face is like depuffing and your hair's growing, and it's like really exciting, because you're like, oh my god, I'm going back to normal. But now I'm how many months am I out of chemo? June, July, August, September, October, November.
A fair few.
November. 6 months out of chemo, and I'm like, oh.
I'm not going to count, because I count wrong, because I still think September was this 7th month. Did I say? I literally counted on my fingers as well. I was like, yeah, it's definitely 7. It's fucking 9.
Chemo brain.
I haven't been in school for a while.
But yeah, so other side effects with chemo, to things to avoid with chemo is, don't eat your favourite food as a treat before you go for chemo, because after chemo, you're most likely going to be violently sick, and your brain's going to make a link to
connection
that and go, we're going to hate this food now because it made you
It's
sick.
literally, it's an aversion, isn't it? Like, you see carrot cake and you're like, what?
Yeah.
No.
So before my
I see
fourth chemo, I went into a coffee shop pre-COVID, and I had a
Stupid.
massive piece of carrot cake, and carrot cake is my absolute favourite thing in the whole wide world. And guess what? I can't look at it anymore. Cannot
That's
stomach
so sad.
it at all.
There's gonna be so many puns talking about food about that. But no, I had that with muffins because I threw them up at 4 a.m. That was the first time I was like, I'm gonna vlog my experience because randomers on the internet might want to hear about it. And it was 4 a.m. and I was doing a little vlog and looked at it back and I couldn't even watch the video because I'd brought in blue fairy lights, and looking at the video with the blue lighting made me feel physically sick.
It's crazy.
So
isn't
it's
it?
like, it's not just taste, is it?
Your
It
brain's
is
so
literally
powerful.
smells,
Looks,
sight,
everything. I know that after
everything.
I finished chemo, we drove past the BRI and I said, oh, can we drive a different route so we're not going past the hospital, because that made me feel really sick.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It just makes you queasy. It's weird. Really get a sinking feeling in your stomach. But nausea in general is horrible. You get it bad with certain chemo drugs. So I know the doxorubicin, the Red Devil,
that makes you
really made me
nauseous.
feel ill. And the steroids do help, I think, with nausea.
Yeah, my main
so
tip
even
is
though you're puffing up,
speak
it's
to your
fine.
oncologist and take the medications they
Consult your consultant. Sorry, I wanted to squeeze that pun in. Actually, that hasn't been in the last 3 times we've
It's a new
recorded.
one.
That was brand new.
This is why we do it so many times, just to make sure it's so good. Definitely listen to your oncologist and take the medications they give you, because I know I was a bit stubborn. I was like, I don't want to be taking 25 tablets a day because
there are so many. Yeah.
But as time goes
You take
on,
a pill for a pill.
after every chemo, the meds are adjusted to suit you more, because you give your oncologist feedback after every
catch-up.
cycle. So that way everything gets adjusted to suit you. And because you're feeling unwell, I do definitely recommend setting alarms for taking your medications, or maybe getting someone like your partner or your mum or your dad or whoever to make sure that they make sure that you're definitely taking your medications how you should be. But over time that can all be adjusted to how you need it, and there are hundreds of different drugs. So if one type doesn't work, a different type will.
You're very right. There are so many, and you do end up being on a drug for another drug and taking another drug for the drugs you're on, and it just is a horrible system just coming at you. But also with the amount of drugs there are, don't just sit on symptoms. If you have a side effect that you are just liking and lumping and it just is not going away, ask your doctor, because they will have something for that. I didn't know why I was depressed. I just thought, oh, this is just not fun anymore, and I'm clearly just really down in myself. And then I finally mentioned it about 3 cycles in, after neutropenic sepsis, after everything like that. And they said, oh yeah, the drugs can make you feel depressed. And it was like, if I'd have known that before, to meet up. It's a very hard question, because you can say, yes, I want to, and then you don't know if you're going to be well enough. You don't know what your bloods are going to be doing. And you might just feel crap. So putting all this blame on you for trying to fit into routines that have completely changed is very difficult. So I think if you have something, don't sit on it. Just be vocal and it will be sorted, because the goal is not for you to be uncomfortable and killing cancer. The goal is for you to be still having a good life. That's why they try and balance quality of life. Yeah. So, that's drugs, isn't it? Just endless medications, popping it.
Yeah, as much as possible, yeah.
Little black book.
Yeah. It is a lot. And I think all the side effects you experience as well in between.
Lovely.
chemos
She means she
and
literally
seeing your
photographed
photos,
a
whether you're
turd.
patient or patient. Do write a list and do take photos
No, she
of
didn't.
things. Like
Yeah.
for me, I went as far, I took photos of my toilet business to show it to my oncologist, because I wasn't sure if it was normal. No, I didn't.
You also just want to get out of there as well. You do go into like a mind blank.
That's very important, because with chemo brain, you forget
that's important. And also, because it is, if you forget,
when you get into that doctor's
if you have, I have migraines.
Like,
so after
I don't know,
I finish chemo, 3 days later, I'll have a migraine, and then I'll start picking up. But I won't feel good until I've had a migraine, because my body's still like, you're going through shit right now. And I didn't mention that, because after I'd had the migraine, I felt fine. So when I went to my checkup and they were like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I actually am okay right now. And then when I did say like, no, I am having, you are, which is great. as many moments as you can, try and feel great in them. But it does mean you are less likely to recall how you felt, because your mind is very good at forgetting trauma.
Because you're feeling fine
so
in
like
the moment.
after
You're
surgery,
like, yeah, fine, all good.
that kind of pain.
Forgetting
I know I
the
experience
trauma.
pain, but that's why I'm so willing to go for surgeries as much as possible. As if I ever get offered the chance of surgery, I'm like, yes, I'll do it. Because even though I know it's going to feel really painful, I just briefly forget how it actually feels. Which is like the same with blood tests. If you hate blood tests, your mind will just forget what the pain is, which is why you work yourself up each time, because you're like, I can't remember the specific pinch it will feel. So it's like your mind is very good at that. So just record it all, so that when you are feeling good, you can remember the bad still. That's important.
Yeah, that's very important. And I don't know, does chemo cause hot flushes, or is it just the menopause?
I think because chemo can affect your hormones, once your hormones get out of whack, that's when you might get hot flushes. Because I got them really bad in inpatient. I remember just waking up in bed being like, too hot. And then the fans, they have fans in there, they're like Dyson fans, I think. So like funky and cool and like techno. Techie. They're not having a rave in the hospital. Imagine that. Lol. No. Like if someone makes a noise before 6 a.m, I'm like, get out. Like the person coming around being like, does she want breakfast? And like I'll be asleep trying to like latch on to sleep as much as possible. And my dad will be like, no, she doesn't. And they'll be like, does she want a drink? And he'll be like, no, she doesn't. And they'll ask something else and I'll be like, no, I don't. I'm awake now. So you can put signs on the inpatient on your door. Being like, I don't want this, I politely decline, please don't wake me up before I have to. But imagine, if they were making sounds. But no, my hot flushes were bad. Just to do a full circle.
My big tip for hot flushes is get a chillo. So it's a pillow that's chilly.
No way! From that wordplay, would I have guessed that?
It's like 12 quid, I think, on Amazon or something.
Just more money for Jeff Bezos. Woo!
Well, you can buy it elsewhere, I think, but if you want a quick delivery.
That is the point, though, isn't it? Amazon Prime, and you do when you have cancer, you do have a bit more love for retail therapy than normal. I've ordered quite a lot.
You've got to keep those endorphins flowing.
I know.
Somehow.
When you're happy, you're happy. There was going to be like a cool catchphrase there or cliche, but it just came out as when you're happy, you're happy. Duh. Well done, Verity.
Vez Barker spitting facts.
Oh, the author Verity Barker coming at you.
Yeah, so the chillo, you don't have to actually keep in the fridge. So if you just keep it like next to your bed, when you have a hot flush, you put it like near your face. It's so cold. Oh, it's the best thing ever. It's been life-changing for me ever since I got one.
Regular people have fans, now. But if you want to be as extra as Liv, get a chillo.
Save energy. Save the planet.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, well done. Look at you.
Yeah, you selfish bitch.
Livetta or Greta? We're descending into madness. We need to get to the end.
Yeah.
What have we talked about? I'm having brain fog now. We've talked about quite a lot. There's a lot with chemo, and that's why we've recorded it 3 times, because each time we're like, we've gone way off topic, and we're trying to condense it, because we do want lots more to talk about. So it's just trying to space it all out. But yeah, I think the only thing I can think of is...
The main thing with chemo as well, it depends again what cycle you're on. It goes from having really, really bad constipation to really, really bad diarrhea.
We haven't talked about
10
poo.
Seconds. Poo. Well, that was my experience anyway.
Yeah.
I was painfully constipated for like 3 or 4 days after chemo.
And then
once the
and then the dam went. The dam burst.
And it's literally you're sat on the toilet crying because you're in so much pain and there's nothing you can do. And then the laxatives obviously build up and it just, when it goes, it goes. So that's something to be expected.
Talking
about
not
to freak out about
pain
that,
on the
suppose.
toilet though, it was so bad with me because we talked about chemo damaging and killing fast growing cells, and your mouth, that's why you get ulcers, because your mouth cells are fast growing. Your mouth is essentially your butt. So when you have an ulcer and it's sore, that is this like tender, and the nerves are as your butthole. So when like if you have like a tear, it is agony. So I still sometimes do it just from the amount of times I'd be like, I need to go to the toilet and this is going to be so painful. I got into a cycle. I'd work myself up, I'd cry, I'd have panic attacks, all because of trying to fucking take a shit when you're in pain. It's horrible, and no one speaks about that. Like, the most you talk about poo is when they show you a chart and be like, rate your poo, rate your turd, which is it? And you're like, 3 or 4 is normal, just saying. But that's the most you talk about.
I'm on 9.
So the amount of conversations I had with my consultant, being like, I need to delay chemo because I can't function day to day now, knowing that I'm going to have to do a poo and it's going to be agony. So to this day, if I forget, like, sometimes, like we say, sometimes you could do random things that you do on chemo. I used to have to sit down on the toilet and bite a towel because it would be that painful. Like, you know, when, if you're in pain, they say bite down on something. I used to literally bite a towel, and sometimes I sit down and just like go and bite a towel. I'm like, I'm not in pain anymore though, like I'm fine. So the only positive I have there, because that shit is literally shit.
That's a habit that's stuck.
It's the habit that's stuck, is that it does get better. You eventually will stop biting the towel. Just think for the future.
Think about the future. You mentioned mouth ulcers.
Yeah.
There's a very good mouthwash for that, isn't there? Actually,
Big
I read online
green
recently.
one.
There's like a new, that one has got like antiseptic. So it makes your
I can't help
mouth
you with that.
numb
I
and
didn't
your
write a
throat numb.
note on that for me to read from. You'll have to consult Google.
And for me personally, obviously inside your nose as well is the same tissue as in your mouth, is it?
I think I got loads of nose spots, like underneath. Like, my nose got really sore.
My nose was bleeding constantly.
It was horrible, yeah.
Because I'd go in circles of going. I wake up in the morning, it's all scabbed up, and then I have to go and blow it out so I can breathe.
Yeah.
So then I blow it out, and then it starts bleeding again. And then I'm trying to moisturize it to like heal it up, but it just didn't work.
No.
It was a nightmare. And the amount of times I'm just sat there and someone at home be like, "Your nose is bleeding again, Liv," and you're just like, "Yeah."
Great.
And it just became like part of everyday life, really. But I really struggled with nosebleeds, but it was really frustrating.
Yeah.
Nosebleeds.
There's so many side effects we could list, but like, obviously this is very specific to us since it's us. Yeah. But no, I think there's just I'm quite concerned that we've made this sound really horrible, but it is horrible. It's just the truth of it. It's what to prepare for.
Yeah. I mean, it's there to kill your tumours. Hopefully it works. Hopefully it's all good.
That's
but
the aim.
It's not a fun ride. We won't sit here and be like, it's like in the films. You're sick a little
and then
bit,
you meet someone and you fall in love.
And then your family takes you to the beach.
And you go ice skating and fall over, and then realise that with low what is it? Why you bruise? With low platelets, you bruise really easily. So that one.
Chemo. What was I gonna say? How do you go through chemo so obviously when Vez was going through chemo, COVID wasn't a thing. So she was allowed to bring a party in with her.
Literally so much takeout.
To go.
It did get cut short though because of COVID.
On the other hand,
but it got cut short because of COVID. But I don't know whether to feel mad about that, because obviously my cancer is now back. But I got to go home early, and I'm still very happy about that, because I did not. I suffered in hospital.
I imagine that would have been
But
shit.
you had COVID.
But so I was outpatient. COVID. I was outpatient. So when they banned all visitors from the hospital, my coping mechanism was sleep.
So naps are,
because they drugged me up so much before the chemo. Actually, I just sleep the whole time, and the only problem is you're waking up every 10 minutes to go to pee. So sleep.
Naps
or,
are so important.
FaceTime your friends and family. Take some headphones with you, or take a book. Just see test it out. See how you feel. Sometimes in the bay next to you, there'll be someone really nice, and you'll be able to chat to them. And whatnot.
Shout out to
In the
Denise after my surgery for being my go-to gal. But my bed partner, well, no, on the opposite bay. We did not stay in the same bed. I think, as well as preparing for ways to distract yourself as you're like ticking down. My dad would actually remove the clock, so I didn't just watch the hours go by, because that bugged me down as well. Clothing. When you're hooked up to a drip for more than 24 hours and you can't come off it, it's very difficult to remove a bra. Don't wear a bra. You don't need them. Let your titties be free. They need the freedom. And just think about like outfits. If you're not going to be comfortable in it for more than a day, don't wear it. Wear something that you can...
Yeah, well, wear whatever makes you happy and puts you in a good mood, I suppose. Because I know for my first chemo, I got bougied up to
And you
hell.
didn't ever again.
And that didn't last. By chemo number 3, I was just there like, I'm just going to wear a t-shirt and some leggings because that's what's comfortable.
So clothes important.
I used to always take my cancer blanket with me. I call it my
never
cancer
got
blanket. I got
one.
given a blanket done by these volunteers at the hospital, which is like a, what are they called?
Quilt,
Patchwork.
yeah.
And it's absolutely gorgeous. And I used to take that with me because it was just a nice little thing for me to like snuggle up.
Blankets are very good ideas, yeah. Because remember, hospital beds are not like a hotel 5-star thing. They are there to get the job done. Yeah. So just make it better by being comfy. Because you're not going to be able to shower as easily as well. Yeah. So bring something that smells nice because you'll stink. Unless you have the effort, and I never did. So.
But yeah, I think that's all I want to cover.
No, I think before the end, that's it on chemo. But I think we should give a little life update. Because your surgery got cancelled. Which is really crap.
Yeah. So my surgery got cancelled and it has been moved to the 10th of December.
So get that in your diaries of all your thoughts and prayers.
Today is the 2nd of December.
They will be needed.
So a week tomorrow. Today's 2nd of December. A week tomorrow. So I think this episode will go live on the 8th. If I pull my finger out and edit it fast
Chief
enough.
editor. I do all the writing, as you can see from Liv reading from my notes. But no.
So I'm having brain surgery. I'm vlogging it all, so I will be posting a video about it, hopefully. Unless I wake up and I don't know how to use iMovie anymore.
Well, you're going to wake up and ask some serious questions, aren't you, to make sure that you're functioning normally. But
I'll be like, cancer.
If you can still sing the theme tune, that's all I care about. I'm sure that's all Ian cares about. Yeah. But no, that's you with your brain surgery.
And this Thursday you find out more.
Shit, is that that's tomorrow, isn't it? I'm
that's
scared.
Tomorrow. Fuck.
I already know that
surgery
isn't viable right now, which is very sad because I really do kind of work towards a debulking situation where I feel much better in my own self if I know that I've got like an empty area to blast instead of like actively trying to shrink something. So I think, I don't know when surgery will ever be available to me again. Hopefully not. I think it's just a point of there's not enough and they're not big enough and they're not causing as much of a nuisance to warrant opening me up and doing a massive operation because where they are is quite awkward. But tomorrow, I find out what is on offer. I know that there's clinical trials. That's an option. We've just got to find one to get me on. I think it could be quite disappointing call. That's nothing on my consultants. It's my body that's bloody growing, isn't it? I just think now I just can't really get my hopes up. I've got to kind of just listen, take what's available and make the best of it.
I'm here for you tomorrow and every day.
Thanks. And I'm there for you next Thursday. Thursdays in cancer are the shit days for me. Every single consultant appointment catch up I've had.
Stop jinxing me.
I'm not jinxing you. It's not me.
Last time you were like, be prepared for your surgery to be cancelled.
Because mine got cancelled. I was learning from experience. And actually, mine got cancelled because there wasn't enough beds. Yours got cancelled because you got COVID from God knows where.
I didn't have COVID.
That's
a whole other story. Stop spoiling my vlog.
Sorry.
All right, all the deets will be relieved there.
But yeah,
I haven't got COVID anymore.
You don't. You're fine.
I'm fine.
That's all. That's us though. That's all of us.
That's all of us.
Tune into Liv's vlog whenever that may be. Whenever she pulls a finger out.
Otherwise, that will be a while.
We'll continue to try and do weekly
surgery. But if not, we will be filming quite a few podcasts hopefully, so we have enough uploaded.
We will try and
once
do
I am
this
out
weekly.
surgery.
Yeah, something to look forward to.
But yeah, I'm nervous but excited. I just want it done.
It's that nervous anticipation, isn't it? It's like what you get on chemo. If you've never experienced chemo before, it's not excitement. It's like nervous anticipation of like, ooh.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely normal way to feel, isn't it? It's not like I'm just popping down to Tesco's to do my food shopping.
Very much not. Someone's going in your skull.
They're going in.
But yeah, otherwise, that's us for today, guys. Catch you on the rebound.
Not the relapse.